Lily, I'm sorry, but could you lend me $5,300?
Dexter, what the hell? A college student suddenly asking for $5,300? Are you serious?
It's for tuition.
Excuse me? Explain yourself. I thought your university's tuition wasn't something you'd have to worry about like this. What's going on?
My university requires the entire year's tuition to be paid up front. That's why the amount is so high.
You've got to be kidding me. Come on, Dexter, you were the one who said you didn't want to rely on scholarships because they made you nervous. You promised that you'd work hard and earn enough to cover everything during your time in college. If I remember correctly, didn't you have a whole plan to manage your expenses after your first year? Even if I'm your sister, this isn't the kind of money I can just hand over on a whim.
I know, Lily. Believe me, I didn't want to ask you for this either. I'm desperate. I feel like I'm grasping at straws here. I have no one else to turn to, and the deadline is fast approaching.
There's more to this story, isn't there? Fine, let's meet up and talk about it in person. I'll hear you out. Meet me at the family restaurant on the 5th floor of the F Station Mall. We'll discuss it over dinner.
I don't even have enough money to eat out.
It's fine. I'll cover that, at least.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, Lily. I owe you big time. I'll tell you everything when we meet, I promise.
You better. Don't try to gloss over anything, all right?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I know this is a huge inconvenience for you. I'm sorry.
Lily, I heard you switched jobs and got a pay raise. Isn't it time you increased the amount you're sending to the family? You were the one who defied us and left home when you started college. It's about time you repay your parents for raising you, don't you think? Show some gratitude. Hi, Mom. Long time no talk. And of course, it's another message about money. You know, you really don't give up, do you? Even though you know I'll say no. If you want money, why don't you get a job? It's embarrassing enough that neither you nor Dad are working. How dare you speak to me like that? I'm just giving you a chance to be a good daughter and show some filial piety. You should appreciate the opportunity. Maybe I'll reduce the amount I send to 10 cents from now on. Excuse me, that is clearly a typo, right? You meant to say you'd increase it to $1,000, didn't you? No typo, I meant 10 cents. What the hell? Living alone comes with a lot of expenses, you know. Plus, I'm still paying off my student loans. Honestly, I shouldn't even be sending anything to you at all. And speaking of this gratitude you keep bringing up, let's clear something up. In case you forgot, I paid for my high school tuition myself. I worked part-time jobs to cover it. Wait, what? Yeah, you heard me. And for college, I relied entirely on scholarships to get by. And as I mentioned, I am still paying these loans off. Let's not forget, when I was a kid, it wasn't you or Dad who made sure I had food to eat. It was Grandma, who passed away 6 months ago, who took care of me. To be honest, I don't really feel like I owe you anything for raising me. It's normal for grown children to take care of their parents. That's how it's supposed to be. Maybe so, but I think only parents who actually did their part in raising their kids get to make that argument. You are unbelievable. Look at your brother Dexter. He is paying his own $5,300 tuition. Why can't you be more like him? Excuse me? What? He's your younger brother, yet he's managing his finances. Meanwhile, you, as the older sibling, are only offering 10 cents as support. Are you trying to mock us? Wait a second. That $5,300? That was me. I lent it to Dexter. What? I just spoke to your father. He said the $5,300 we paid at the time of Dexter's college enrollment was definitely deposited into Dexter's account. Why are you snooping through Dexter's bank records without his permission? And recently your father said Dexter gave him $6,000 too. Do you honestly believe that money was meant for Dad? Are you seriously that naive? Your father is furious. He says it's ungrateful for you not to increase the amount you send to us. What kind of daughter are you? I'm already sending $500 a month, aren't I? Are you actually pushing me to cut it down to 10 cents? Well, your father said, then stop sending anything at all. Even those measly 10 cents aren't worth it. He even joked that Dexter seems to be doing just fine earning money, so we will rely on him instead. Unbelievable. You're seriously planning to mooch off a college student now? But I can't wrap my head around it. But you know what? This might actually be a good opportunity to bring up something I've been meaning to discuss with Dad. And since you're here, I'll fill you in too. What are you talking about? The $5,300 Dad mentioned was indeed for Dexter's first year of tuition, but the $5,300 I'm talking about is something entirely different. It's the amount Dexter worked hard to save this year for his second year's tuition. He took on multiple part-time jobs to cover it himself. Wait, what? Let me explain. When Dexter started college, Grandma and I stepped in to help with the initial costs, including his enrollment fee and first-year tuition. We knew it was too much for a high schooler to handle alone. However, from the second year onward, Dexter was determined to pay his way. He promised to earn and save enough through his part-time jobs, but then Dad, who apparently has no sense of boundaries, found out Dexter was working extra hours and saving diligently. Dad showed up unannounced at Dexter's apartment one day, let himself in, rummaged through his belongings, and discovered a savings account with about $6,000. That account, by the way, was specifically set up to cover Dexter's tuition and apartment rent. But Dad, being Dad, somehow convinced himself that it was money Dexter intended to send to you and him. So what did he do? He withdrew every single cent without asking. Excuse me? Yeah, Dexter made the mistake of using an easy-to-guess PIN, which is partly on him, I'll admit. But because of that, he's now facing a tuition payment crisis. He couldn't pay the $5,300 for the upcoming year and had no choice but to turn to me for help. With no other option, he swallowed his pride and asked me to lend him the money. I can't believe this. Well, believe it. I couldn't let him drop out of school over something like this, so I paid the tuition for him. Now, thanks to Dad's selfish actions, both Dexter and I are left financially strapped for the foreseeable future. We're both going to be living frugally for a while. This can't be happening. And because of all this, I've decided to stop sending money to you entirely. As for Dexter, I'm under no illusion that he'll be in any position to support anyone else, let alone you and Dad. He's focused on rebuilding his savings and getting through college. Wait a minute, you can't just stop sending money. We rely on it. Without it, we're in big trouble. Up until now, your father has been living off the inheritance he got from your grandfather. And when your grandfather passed away 6 months ago, we used her inheritance too. But that's all gone now. You blew through Grandma's inheritance? That's bad enough, but to think you've already burned through Grandma's inheritance too, less than 6 months after her passing? What is wrong with you two? Do you even realize how irresponsible that is? Oh, don't you dare lecture me. We used most of the inheritance for Dexter. He's the eldest son and the rightful heir of this family. Everything we did was for him. Oh, please, let's not kid ourselves. Anything important involving Dexter was either paid for by Grandpa or Grandma. You two were just along for the ride. What are you trying to say? I'm saying that now that the money you've been relying on has run out, Dexter has finally realized what kind of mess he's in. He's doing his best to stand on his own 2 feet and build a future for himself. So I'm telling you, don't interfere with his efforts.
Lily, you didn't give Dad and Mom your apartment address, right? And I'm pretty sure you didn't tell them where you work either.
Yeah, I didn't. Why?
Can I stay with you for a while? Just temporarily, I promise.
What's going on?
Dad and Mom showed up at my place uninvited. They've moved in.
What?
Apparently, they blew through Grandma's inheritance and fell behind on rent for the house. They got evicted.
You've got to be kidding me. Wait, so the house wasn't theirs? It was a rental?
Yeah, it was. I guess I overlooked that detail, too. Anyway, it's gotten to the point where they've stopped caring about appearances entirely. They've started trying to take cash from my wallet when I'm not looking, and even tried pawning my stuff.
Are you serious? After everything they've said about loving you as the eldest son and heir, they're treating you like this?
From what I've gathered, they've been relying on loans to cover living expenses for the past few months.
Loans?
And yet they're showing zero signs of trying to get jobs. They're clearly counting on me to support them. Dad even asked me when my next paycheck is coming in. At this rate, it's only a matter of time before they take my money outright. I might have to drop out of college just to support them. That would make all the sacrifices you made to cover my tuition completely pointless.
I see. Give me a little time to think. Stay put for now, okay? Dexter, can you hang in there for a couple more days before we deal with this?
Yeah, I think I can manage. My paycheck doesn't come in for another week anyway. If you have a plan, I'll try to wait it out.
Actually, I don't think you should wait at all. Tomorrow morning, take all your valuables with you when you leave for class. After that, don't go back home. Instead, head to Station A after school.
Station A?
Your destination is an apartment near Station A mansion. It's a 5-minute walk from the station.
A mansion? Wait, who lives there?
You've met them before, back when you were in high school.
Oh, I get it. You mean your boyfriend, right? The one who just came back from his overseas assignment a month ago?
Bingo! Since I don't want Dad and Mom figuring out where I live, I thought this was a good alternative. Plus, if you're going to hide somewhere, it might as well be somewhere with strong security. When I asked him for help, he didn't hesitate. He said he'd take care of you. He even offered to help find you a new place to live and assist with the financial side of things if needed.
Your boyfriend's a total legend.
I'll send you his contact information in a bit. Make sure to call him once you leave campus tomorrow, and he'll take it from there.
Got it. But honestly, I feel so pathetic right now. I've been relying on you and everyone else so much. I'm supposed to be working hard to become independent, but here I am running away again.
Dexter, listen to me. There's no shame in asking for help when you've done everything you can on your own. It's part of being human, part of surviving. What you can't do is try to shoulder everything alone. That's a fast track to burning out.
Lily.
Be grateful for the help you receive, and when you're in a better position, pay it forward by helping someone else. That's how you repay kindness.
Yeah, you're right. I'll do my best to get stronger. To become someone who can do that someday.
Lily, do you know where Dexter went? He left for university 2 days ago and hasn't come back since. Then this morning, some big, intimidating men suddenly showed up, and before I knew it, your father and Dexter were shoved into a black van with them. Oh? I was half asleep when they barged in, so I couldn't put up much resistance before the car sped off. I think we're in another state. It looks like some kind of company dormitory or something. Your father and I were both dumped here. That's the dormitory for Oniwa Corporation, a construction company. What? Oniwa Corporation? Yeah, I guess you wouldn't know about it since you've never worked a proper job. What are you talking about? What does this have to do with anything? Oniwa Corporation is famous for its employee training. They're known for turning even the most troublesome people into respectable, functioning adults. That's where Dad, and eventually you, will work to repay their debts and hopefully reform themselves. What? Why is this happening? If money is the issue, then Dexter or you could simply give us the money as part of your filial duty. There's no need for us to work like that. Dexter and I want nothing more than to get as far away as possible from toxic parents who are perfect examples of what not to become as adults. Toxic parents? Yeah, I already knew you lacked self-awareness, but your reaction proves it all over again. Never mind that. What about Dexter? Where is he? If you're going to make someone work, then he should be working too. He owes you $5,300, doesn't he? Let me remind you of how this all started. Dad withdrew $6,000 from Dexter's account without permission and spent it all. So here's how it's going to go. First, Dad will repay Dexter the $6,000. After that, Dexter will return $5,300 to me. This process is non-negotiable since it's symbolic, about accountability. And one more thing, once that's done, consider this the end. I'm cutting ties with both of you. Wait, Lily, don't leave me! Bye-bye. The arrangement with the Oniwa group was made possible through the efforts of my boyfriend. It turns out that his father happens to be an old schoolmate of the Oniwa group's president. When I confided in him about the frustrating situation with my parents and my desire to resolve it somehow, he kindly offered to intervene. As a result, the Oniwa group not only agreed to take my parents in, but also welcomed them into their company as live-in employees without hesitation. While all this drama unfolded, Dexter, unbothered by the chaos, successfully completed his move to a new place. Now he's completely immersed in a rigorous daily routine. He works part-time jobs with incredible dedication, using his earnings to cover all his living expenses, rent, and tuition fees. Despite this challenging schedule, he still manages to attend university without compromising on his studies. His perseverance is nothing short of admirable. It's clear that he's determined to carve out a better future for himself on his own terms. As for my parents, the source of so many of our problems, they're currently in their 50s. They should still be in their prime working years, yet decades of laziness have left their toll. Their prolonged indulgence in a slothful lifestyle has apparently made even the basics of hard work an uphill battle for them. It seems they're now struggling to adjust to the structured routine required by their new roles in the Oniwa group. From what I've heard, their daily schedule is quite demanding. In addition to their regular work hours, their routine now includes mandatory morning and evening runs to improve their physical fitness. I suppose this added element of discipline was deemed necessary to help them adapt and overcome the bad habits they've developed over the years. The mental image of them huffing and puffing, running around from morning until night while barely managing to keep up with their responsibilities is oddly satisfying. Just imagining them in such a state eases some of my lingering frustrations, even if only a little. Honestly, it's hard to fully articulate the level of relief this arrangement has brought me. For years, I had borne the burden of my parents' irresponsibility. Their inability, or perhaps refusal, to contribute meaningfully to the household created countless obstacles in my own life. It was as if their complacency was a black hole, pulling me into a vortex of stress and resentment. But now, seeing them finally held accountable for their actions and forced to confront the consequences of their past choices, I can't help but feel a sense of vindication. Dexter's support throughout this ordeal has been invaluable. If it weren't for him and the connections his family provided, I doubt my parents would have ever taken the initiative to turn their lives around. His father's willingness to reach out to the Oniwa group's president on their behalf was an incredible gesture, one I'll always be grateful for. However, the fact remains that this opportunity was a result of external intervention. My parents certainly didn't earn it through their own efforts. Their acceptance into the Oniwa group as live-in employees came with the understanding that they'd need to drastically change their habits. The president made it clear from the start that laziness would not be tolerated. It's a no-nonsense environment where everyone is expected to pull their weight, and slacking off simply isn't an option. This newfound structure has forced my parents to step up in ways they never had to before. Meanwhile, Dexter continues to inspire me with his work ethic and determination. Watching him juggle part-time jobs, university classes, and his personal goals is a reminder of what can be achieved through sheer perseverance. His ability to manage his finances independently and maintain a sense of purpose despite the challenges he faces is something I deeply admire. Reflecting on the stark contrast between Dexter's disciplined approach to life and my parents' previous lackadaisical attitude highlights just how much they needed this wake-up call. For too long, they had taken the easy way out, relying on others to shoulder their responsibilities. This new chapter in their lives, though undoubtedly tough, is a necessary step towards their personal growth. Interestingly, the transformation isn't limited to their work habits. My parents' new routine has also had a noticeable impact on their health and fitness levels. The daily runs they're required to do have apparently been a shock to their systems, given how sedentary they had become over the years. At first, they complained incessantly about the physical demands, but over time, they seemed to be slowly adjusting. I've heard that they've even started to take pride in completing their runs without stopping to catch their breath, a small but significant sign of progress. Despite their complaints and struggles, I can't help but feel a small sense of satisfaction knowing that they're finally experiencing the reality of hard work. It's not that I wish them ill, far from it. If anything, I hope this experience serves as a turning point for them, motivating them to become more self-reliant and responsible individuals. However, the fact that they're being held accountable for their past behavior, even in this relatively controlled environment, is undeniably gratifying. This entire situation has taught me a lot about the importance of boundaries and the need to let people face the consequences of their actions. For so long, I had tried to shield my parents from those consequences, hoping that my efforts would somehow inspire them to change. But in the end, it was only through external intervention, through the involvement of the Oniwa group, that they were finally forced to confront their own shortcomings. At the same time, Dexter's resilience and independence have become a source of inspiration for me. His ability to navigate his own challenges with grace and determination is a testament to the power of personal responsibility. Watching him build a life for himself piece by piece has reaffirmed my belief that change is possible, even in the face of adversity. In moments of reflection, I often find myself imagining my parents running laps around the Oniwa group's training grounds, drenched in sweat and gasping for air as they struggle to keep up with the demands of their new routine. It's a mental image that never fails to bring a small smile to my face, a quiet acknowledgement of the poetic justice at play. Perhaps this experience will ultimately be a blessing in disguise for all of us. For my parents, it represents an opportunity to grow and reclaim a sense of purpose that they had long since abandoned. For me, it's a chance to finally let go of the resentment I had harbored for so many years and focus on building my own future without the weight of their shortcomings holding me back. In the end, I can only hope that this chapter serves as a turning point for all of us, a moment of reckoning that paves the way for a brighter, more balanced future.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.